Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we'll be talking about a upcoming storm. It's rather large, it's rather powerful, and it will be delivering quite a bit of severe weather, heavy rain, and kind of like a fall-like pattern to a good portion of the eastern United States, really mostly the Midwest, the South, the East, excluding, unfortunately, the West, which also is kind of stuck in that concerning pattern we've been talking about for a while. Heat, drought, none of that good stuff. Portions of the Southwest, like Mexico and maybe extreme Arizona, extreme eastern Arizona, are seeing some rains, but it's limited. But yeah, before we get into talking about everything, consider checking out the channel, watching the video. If you do perhaps enjoy it, consider subscribing. And if you are a returning viewer or you just enjoy the video, consider giving it a thumbs up. And any comment or concern you leave down below, I will most likely get to it and answer it. So feel free to leave that down below. Okay, so first off, we're looking at the National Weather Service map. Notice National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. We do have quite a bit of severe thunderstorm warnings and watches across the east. Mainly actually watches, and now that I look at this, and notice we have one that's way out to the north. And this is actually a perfect example of why, just because you're not under a severe thunderstorm watch, you could still expect some severe thunderstorm warnings. Okay, so this one expired, but it left behind, I'm assuming, from that storm, a flash flood warning because of the heavy rain that did occur. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, exactly. Indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the Warren area. Yeah, 2 to 3.5 inches have fallen. It's a ton, right? And you can see how small of an area it is. Geneva, Dansville probably got nothing like those amounts. Nothing like those heavy amounts. So again, it's pretty isolated, but notice the Northeast, we have these watches and warnings issued out ahead of Tropical Storm Elsa, or at this point, there might be a depression, its remnants. Notice, though, yeah, quite a bit of rain has fallen. It is falling right now. There's some foggy, misty conditions, and if we were to take a look at the interactive radar, look what we see. Again, this isn't the big storm that I'm talking about in the title, but it is the first one. If you recall, a few days ago, I was talking about two systems. This is the first one, and notice it's definitely showing its severity. Look at that spinning beast right there. The remnant of it now starting to push into New Jersey. Again, lots of rain already out ahead of it, and there will continue to be more rain from this. Okay, and then notice into Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, quite a bit more showers, rain, thunderstorms are occurring, and across the Northeast as well. To the south, we have that conglomerate of just stubborn moisture kind of invading and harassing portions of coastal Texas, Louisiana. Notice, look at this. Let's just pan this last 6 hours. It looks as if it hasn't changed much, right? Because it hasn't. Just loads of moisture, wave after wave of thunderstorms activity just pushing into Texas, Louisiana, definitely dropping quite a bit of rain. And this is now where we start talking about the second system. This is the beginning of it, and it will continue to send waves of severe thunderstorms, heavy rain, and cool weather out ahead of it. So notice right now, it is really crossing into Montana as we speak, but there are some showers and storms out ahead of this. Look at this into Dickinson, just south of it, actually. Some pretty nasty cells. We have a very large squall line of probably damaging winds, a large hail from a thunderstorm like this. And again, a lot of these areas are dry. They need some rain, but this is a bit too abrupt. But hopefully, if you can get away without getting any damage, that rain is going to be beneficial. And notice that it is starting to traverse into the Dakotas, portions of northeastern Colorado, and of course here are the monsoons. But of course, it's rather isolated. Most of California, Nevada remain dry, including the Northwest. Okay, so that's what we have on the radar. Let's go back to the National Weather Service page. Let's take a look at some of these watches and warnings with this second storm, the one we're talking about. Again, look at that. A few tornadoes are possible. Not likely, but mainly more of a damaging wind and very large hail. It's in this part of the country where these thunderstorms first kind of generate. Really, it is a kind of a hail hotspot. A lot of kind of the northern and central U.S., but again, that extends into the Texas, Oklahoma area. But obviously not with today. Today, it's favoring the upper plains. And yeah, I just want to take a look at some of these warnings to see what they have, how big the hail is, right? So notice partly cloudy, but there is a thunderstorm in effect. It probably will be reaching there very soon, or already has passed through. Notice golf ball size hail. Again, that's 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. Yeah, that's strong, but that's gonna be the story right there. The golf ball size hail, 1.75 inch hail. That is rather large, something that definitely is severe warned. And yeah, there's several of these things. Notice now we have also severe thunderstorm warning for Williston, where we do have that squall line. I'm assuming with this one, there's also obviously a hail threat, but I'm assuming it's the wind threat that is a bit higher, 60 mile per hour in hail. Okay, so maybe not as strong of a wind as I was thinking, but they do say torrential rainfall is occurring. You know, I guess that is good. Drought area, but again, I might be just falling a bit too fast course, I say. Also, thankfully, that's a bit less severe, so that rain may be actually kind of serving its purpose more than getting hammered by hail and then kind of some rain as a silver lining. But look at the southwest. This is very bad. I know the video isn't talking about this, right? I didn't make this about it, the southwest, but I want to glance at this. Death Valley, of course, one of the hottest locations. That's the kind of why I wanted to click on it. But notice that's still very hot, even for Death Valley. You know it's going to be hot when Death Valley has a heat warning, right? 124 Fahrenheit. Friday, 123. I mean, look, it's just like copy and paste, literally. I mean, you know, some days are gonna be cooler, but even look at the nights. That's pretty warm nights. So yeah, that's gonna be a continued story. If you're to take a look at some larger maybe areas like larger populated areas like Las Vegas rather than like a park, notice still extremely hot temperatures and obviously very little rainfall, which is not good. So all right, let's take a look now at the GFS weather model and start talking about this. So here we have our first storm. Again, the remnants of the storm moving out, but there we are having those clusters and storms developing across North Dakota, in South Dakota, Iowa. Very strong, powerful, moisture filled. And notice, I would say this model is actually under exaggerating some of this, but regardless, this is, you know, a good handle this GFS has on it. And notice that into tomorrow morning, during the overnight hours, the thunderstorms weaken, right? Notice it's just a bright area of green, but as this continues, look at that. We see energy from Nebraska, kind of Colorado area fill in, and we see more storms. This time across a very large area, even possibly where they are occurring today, a reinvigoration of thunderstorms. And then notice it's all the way to the south right there. And here's why this is such a unique system, because like there's obviously very strong bands of rain. This is now into very early Saturday, so over Friday night, obviously quite a bit of rain occurring. And look, it's pretty stationary. And what we start seeing is this low pressure, you know, it dives down, it kind of does a little waiting, and then it kind of goes to the north pretty quickly. Look at this. So notice storms firing during the day on Saturday, during the afternoon. Look at that, right into Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, some storms as well, Arkansas. And look, this storm starts getting cut off, and look, we just see bands of showers and storms kind of propagating all the way into Wisconsin and Michigan. Obviously, the severest or the heaviest of the rain kind of staying to the south on the tail tip of this low pressure. But look, it definitely does produce some showers, daily threats of showers and storms. And finally, by Wednesday, another little cold front sweeps through, as you saw right there, and that kind of pushes the remnants of the system out of here. And there we go. However, that doesn't mean that it's done with the rain, the pattern. The storm is gone technically, but you can see the energy brought by that cold front that pushed it out brings in more waves of rain. Some of them pretty heavy, and you can see this continues into Friday, Saturday, and this isn't directly tied with that storm system we are looking at right now. But again, look at it, just bringing bouts of showers, storms, quite a bit of weather. And notice that in the very long range, we do see a pretty active pattern still, though it's a bit different. And look at this, a little bit of snow potentially across the mountains across British Columbia. I'm assuming that means there's some finally chilly air according to this model up there, which yeah, you can see there's been a lack of, so you know, potentially different pattern, a pattern change. That's some pretty darn cool air right there. But focusing on a stormy side, let's take a look at the total accumulated precipitation through our 198, which isn't the full forecast I showed you. It's always a bit delayed, the accumulated precipitation. Notice favoring the Midwest, the East, where that system kind of stalls out, rotates, and waves of rain follow. But notice it does bring some rain to the plains. And again, even if you just get one little tiny thunderstorm like we saw across New York, right? Really not in a severe thunderstorm watch area. Really not expecting, because you could see the forecast for rain was around half an inch to an inch. But as we saw from that warning, there was 2 to 4 inches that fell. Now, obviously, once it happens, but they can't really forecast for that. It's almost impossible to predict, oh, here will be 2 inches and right there will be, you know, half a quarter of an inch. So it's just something to be watchful for, even if you're not in an area of favored let's go here. Favored precipitation, right? Let's take a look at the Canadian and what it shows in terms of its favored precip, really the similar areas. And again, similar pattern kind of bringing quite a bit of precipitation into east, especially the Midwest, the central U.S. Let's take a glance at its evolution of the storm system. There it is, diving through North Dakota, South Dakota, into Iowa, Illinois. Notice, again, there are some differences. Canadian brings it further closer towards the Mississippi River Valley, while the kind of the GFS brings it a bit further towards the south and keeps it a bit calmer during the overnight hours. But yeah, notice there we are. You can see this Canadian really favoring quite a bit of activity with this. Then we have that reinvigoration of that system into Friday afternoon, early Saturday during the day, also reinvigorating. Notice it's a bit more organized according to the Canadian. Some heavier rain threat for sure out of that. Notice into Michigan, Ohio, we see a cold front dragging all the way to the south, and this system almost turns vertically, and it does push out again, right? But followed by that is more precipitation and more rain and more bouts of severe weather, possibly. Maybe not widespread, but definitely some severe weather, like we see with today's system across the North Dakota area. And again, that will probably be repeating throughout many of the days in the upcoming future. Total accumulated precip, I already showed you this, but let's take a look at it again. Notice favoring the similar areas. Let's take a look at the last global model I want to look at, and then we can look at some more high-res models that kind of specify the storm potential. Notice during today, the afternoon, overnight hours, it does favor a lot of this rain into Iowa, a bit more than the GFS Canadian. Again, there are some differences, but notice it does die down during the day tomorrow, but fires right back up during the afternoon. We have a squall line, according to the European, passing through Kansas City potentially, and look at that, staying a bit further towards the south before rotating to the north, and then again staying there for a bit, producing showers, storms, but finally getting pushed out, and with that there is more rain. And look at that, definitely favoring a wet pattern towards the kind of the middle to northern, southern U.S., if you will. Not really the south, not really the north, just the central U.S., central eastern U.S., Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Again, though, this is just one model. As you saw, the GFS Canadian favor a bit towards the north with the heaviest of the rain. European does favor heavy rain, but the heaviest of the heaviest is kind of across the Kentucky, Indiana area, which is a good thing, I guess. They need some of that rain, but that may be a bit too much. Notice across Arizona, New Mexico, we have those decent amounts according to the European with rain, so definitely a good thing. And notice the east continues to be west. The northern plains seeing some rain, not huge amounts, but hopefully enough to produce some kind of relief, and a bit dry across Wisconsin, Minnesota. But again, this is kind of random, and there could be just one little thunderstorm activity event that brings a lot of rain, and this European model maybe isn't calculating for. Let's take a glance now at the RAP. A very, very good model, goes out to 51 hours. Let's take a look at what it shows in terms of its reflectivity. So kind of hour by hour. This is into tonight. Notice we have those giant conglomerates of precip across the north, the kind of the cold front, tropical storm Elsa remnants. And notice that the severe weather across the Dakotas does wind down today, but what it does do is fire up some nasty storms across Iowa and Minnesota into late today and early tomorrow. That kind of pushes all the way towards the Quad Cities, maybe even into Chicago. Again, some models show it, some models don't. This is now into Friday during the afternoon, during the overnight into Saturday morning. Notice we have some rain spreading into Illinois, again, Indiana, Iowa, more rain kind of firing up across the Dakotas, and again, takes a bit of a slight southward track, but if this were to go further out, we would see this slide to the north. But again, this is a bit different than what you saw from the other models. The global models kept most of this rain a bit further towards the south. This model favoring across Iowa, northern Missouri, central Illinois. The other ones were a bit further towards the south, and I could just show you that even amongst the high-res models. Notice this one, the NAM shows us even further towards the north than what the other models were showing, and what the previous model, the RAP, was showing. And RDPS, the Canadian high-res, notice it's a bit further towards the south, and just in the next 36 hours, it does favor it quite a bit to the south, cutting it off more, say for a city like Chicago, and a bit towards the west or east of Des Moines in western Iowa. So there are some differences, and we'll just have to keep an eye on this. So again, keep your eyes to the sky, keep your eyes on the radar, and stay safe. These weather models are free, so you can check them out. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya. Bye.